Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to a long video. This is going to be a longer video. And so I'm really excited to flow and take my time with this, but it's going to be packed with a lot of things that, I feel will be helpful. So we're going to dive right in. I want to talk about we'll just dive into it, but it's going to be I want to say kind of some exciting things we're going to talk about, as well as just some hearty, wholesome, heart hitting stuff that is sort of at the forefront of this channel. But before we get into it, I just want to start by saying a prayer. Please join in with me, wherever you are, just really quickly, because I think this is really important. It's really important to me, at least, to continue to, I guess, just take time to pray and take time to basically hang out with God, and just, casually, make it a kind of a normal thing. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be starting off with, the power of prayer and intention. And I'm a little bit tired, so bear with me. I worked out at the gym really hard today, so it's like I can feel it. I can feel it in my muscles as I'm speaking even, but I'm just the vessel, is the goal. I'm just the vessel for this message to come through is how I feel. And I feel it rising. So anyways, let's just start with a prayer. It's so powerful, you guys. I'm sure many of you already know, but I just feel like the times that we're in, and I'm gonna dive really deep into this afterwards. It's so beautiful. It's so powerful. It's so potent. It's so needed. It's like this is like this is like what we're going into. I feel like, and as we're evolving, it's like this is like a huge part of, I feel like, what we're evolving into. So let's just take a second. You can close your eyes if you're chilling with me. If you're driving or something, you can just sort of follow along and feel it in your heart. And let's just take a breath together throughout, across time and space. And call upon God, Christ, the Holy Spirit, Source, whatever you want to call this infinite benevolent force, to bless us, truly, to bless everyone here, to protect everyone here, to send love to everyone here and all of our loved ones, family and friends, and all of humanity. And let's send so much love and protection and grace to California and the LA area where these fires are happening. Please take time to just send love, send this sort of watery, rainy, cleansing energy into that area. It's so powerful, you guys. The collective consciousness is so powerful. Send love, send healing to that area, to the land, to the people, to the animals. Just take a second to just focus on this. And let's set the intention that all the people and beings that are affected by this be blessed, in that, despite any horrible things that are happening, may it be used for the highest good in the long run for all beings. Sending love and peace, especially if you have peace right now. Offering it to our brothers and sisters who may not be able to access it in the collective field, because they are just other yous, really. We're all connected. And just, God bless the now, the earth, humanity's timeline, and everyone that's here. I wish, I pray for you all to just have a most blessed day, to find clarity, to find peace, to find joy, to find abundance, and whatever it is that you need for you and your family and friends. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I just have to say that, I know, like, we live in this, like, society, in this world where people just want that instant information hit. And so, I know I'm not really offering that, but I'm kind of just, it's like, that's not what this is about. It's not just about, like, filling your noggin with a bunch of information. It's about, why we're really here. And I'm going to start with an interesting topic, because I'm feeling really called to flow on the topic of, like, and we're going to kind of go into the shadow realm here, but into the like spiritual attack, and not just spiritual attack, it's kind of connected to, I don't know what the word is for it, but maybe somebody does, but like energy warfare, spiritual warfare, and like the technological energy warfare. There's so many different examples of it. And again, obviously, if you know me, you already know, this is not about causing fear. It's just about acknowledging what is arising and has been arising, and having awareness of it, and what we can do to be empowered, because it's like I can't ignore it. I mean, I really feel like it's bubbling up and it has to be addressed. So yeah, I'll just share something I experienced last night. It was like 6:30. I woke up with like this crazy anxiety, which I haven't felt in like a while. I really haven't felt this kind of like anxiety and fear in a while. I don't know why it woke me up at like 6:30 in the morning. And it's, I'm sure you guys can relate. It's like it was just sort of these like racing thoughts, and like, it's like I woke up to it. It's like I didn't even have time to process like what was happening. I just woke up to these fearful thoughts, these, this fear in my heart, in my body, just worrying about people I love. Are they okay? Worrying about things I'm doing. Is that bad? Is that not enough? Or like, am I doing it wrong? Worrying about how am I gonna afford this, or whatever the fear. Already know how anxiety is. It's like whatever it can latch on to. And I'm so thankful that I caught it. I caught it before it could even really do anything. Like I sort of saw the thoughts happening. And it's interesting, when you're in that like delta brainwave, like half asleep, half awake, you're sort of like, it's like a very dreamy, but like you're here, but like you're very like intuitive. At least that's how I feel. So it's like when I look back on this memory, and again, this was just last night, it's very, it's kind of very dreamy and wonky, but like I know it was real kind of thing. And so I became aware, which I'm so grateful for, because it brings me a lot of like gratitude, because I know in the past, like, I would have had those fearful thoughts and they would have just sort of like taken me for a ride, and I would have entertained them, whereas now I see them and I'm like, no. Like, no way, dude. Like, that is, like, I have no business worrying about any of this stuff, because I really, really don't. I really, really don't. None of it is valid that I'm talking about, that I was thinking. It's all stuff that is not worth worrying about, because I trust in what is. I can handle all of it. There's things I can do to handle all of it. I don't need to be sitting here hurting my own heart worrying about these things. I've come to realize, I shared about that in some of my past videos recently, about this like opening my heart experience, and like, and stop the worrying, stop the worshiping fear. So anyways, I noticed the thoughts, and almost like automatically I started rebuking them in the name of Jesus Christ. And this is my thing. I love Jesus. I'm like really going through like a very like esoteric like Christian time in my life right now, because I'm just it's really hardcore resonating with me, as I know it does with a lot of people. And just like really staying close with the Jesus Christ energy. And maybe it's something else for you, I don't know. I think it's a universal thing, and I'm calling it Christ, but I love it because it's so simple and elegant. It just makes sense to me. Versus having to do all of these other crazy things. To me, it's like with Christ, it's a direct, straight path, and that's all I need. That's how I feel. So that's where I'm at. And I just feel really called to that energy. It just makes sense in that frame to me. But it doesn't have to be like that. It can be whatever. You can call upon God, upon source, upon your higher self, upon the like whatever it is for you. I feel like it's like the labels and stuff is sort of a construct thing, but it's like your direct connection to the living God within. It can't even be put in words. But I'm going to call it Christ because that's what I call it, and that's literally what I do, because I know when I say that, it never not works. Never do I say I rebuke this in the name of Jesus Christ and it doesn't be rebuked. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, that was sort of like my natural instinct is I just started rebuking all of it. I started rebuking it from me, and it even like extended out because some of my fear, it was like surrounding my family, and family members that I know also struggle with fear. And I was just rebuking all of it, just like whatever was allowed to be rebuked. And it went away. And I had this sort of like knowing, this sort of intuition. And now this is where it gets like a little bit weird. And like literally you can take this literally as how I'm going to say it, or you can take this metaphorically. In either way, you can gain something from what I'm going to say. It was like I just had this sort of knowing that it was some kind of like energy weapon. I don't know exactly what. It's like if I try to like envision it, it's like it's some kind of energy weapon. And again, I'm not trying to say this to be paranoid. I just think we have to be so real. And for me, for where I'm at in my role, I feel like that's part of my role is to call this stuff out, in an empowering way. But because there's so many different things, and we already all know this, right? But it's like just to acknowledge it, because this was like last night, it was a tangible example of how I really feel like that was some kind of like energetic weapon or wave or something that like affected me. Like I really feel like it was coming from outside of me. I don't feel like it was natural, and why am I saying this? Because it's like I've dealt with a lot of different things like this. I have this discernment and I'm humble, but that was just my deep intuition, is that like this was like something outside of me, some kind of energy thing that was like fucking, it like it woke me up, it even woke up my cat up, and cats are like really tuned into that stuff. So why am I saying this? There's a lot of reasons. So one, I think it's the awareness is so important, not to be paranoid, because I'm not paranoid. Like when this stuff happens to me, I'm not like, oh my God, what? Like it's not dramatic. It's like, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Not even in like a nasty, trying to be ugly way. It's just like, I fucking rebuke you. I rebuke you. No, you do not. No, just no. Just no. It's like not happening. Not happening. And, that's just my energy with it at this point. You know what I mean? It's really, it on the soul, I feel like it pisses me off on a soul level almost, if I could even say that, because it's just like, no. Anyways, it's a nuisance. It's a nuisance, but it's more than a nuisance. In that moment, it was a nuisance, but in other cases, like what we're seeing in California, it's actually quite diabolical. But, anyways. So there's all kinds of things. Who knows? I don't even need to know what it is. If people know about the 5G or the whatever strange fog or, all the stuff that's coming out. There's all kinds of stuff and things that we probably don't even know about. On top of just the general collective unconsciousness and people's thoughts and how much we're all connected and how that can sometimes, maybe have a negative effect on your field. So why am I sharing this? One, because I want to share this awareness that if you have an experience like that, to start having more discernment of like, is this even coming from myself? Or is this coming from outside of me? Because the thing is, the reason that can be so dangerous, I think, is as far as like spiritually and energetically, is like if you get hit with a wave of fear or something like that. And again, even if you think I sound totally schizo right now, you can literally take this still just like metaphorically for, you know, when you have fear, you know, the tools of like recognizing fear without spiraling into it. But because it's dangerous, because if you've experienced this and you identify with it and you take it as there is something wrong with me, and you believe and you give your energy to these frequencies that are very kind of disruptive and disharmonious, to put it lightly, that might be causing fear or whatever it is. I think fear is probably the biggest one. I don't know. I just really wanted to share that. So it's like having that awareness, you know, and even if it is coming from your own experience or something like that, just being able to see it and start to have that level of like awareness, it's a practice, you know, and it might be hard at first, but like I said, you know, it's like it makes you feel really grateful as you keep practicing, because you will notice more and more yourself improving in not getting swept away by the thoughts and the negative thoughts. And the first step really is awareness. It's just being aware of it. And it still might be annoying because when you're aware of it, you're still seeing it. So it's like, you know, what is this? But eventually it's like you get stronger and stronger and you start to realize like none of this is true. These are just thoughts. And so you don't have to take it so personally. And the more you question it, you know, just question it. What are these thoughts telling me? Do I believe this? Is this even true? Is it worth me getting worked up about? Is it worth me spiraling and torturing myself and beating myself up about? Probably not. I mean, almost certainly not. You know, I know how it is. I used to have that. That's why I look back and I'm like, you know, and I used to feel that fear. It used to get me so bad. I used to be such a sucker for it, for so many things, that now I can like stand in my power and I can see it for what it is and not let it take me away from my center, because it's just an illusion. And I know it's an illusion. So that's one reason why I share that is for the awareness of it, and especially to for you to start discerning that and practicing some kind of not consenting to that. If it's some kind of, if you feel like it's some kind of like unnatural attack. And I'm not trying to be paranoid, because it is interesting. Like, I do believe we create our reality to a very large extent. You know, so if this isn't something you're dealing with, and maybe that, you know, maybe that's wonderful. But if there is people experiencing this is like, you know, in my experience, you know, this is just a tool I'm giving you that is a way to protect and shield and defend yourself. And that's been my experience time and time again, is like, you know, continuing to rise up. And when that stuff does arise, it's like, it's an opportunity to become more strong, you know, and have those sacred boundaries, and like continue to set high intentions for the collective, which is what I'm going to talk about in a second. You know, we're getting there. But to recognize it, to have the awareness, to not take it personally, to literally see it for what it is, and to then, once you discern what it is, to be able to transform it. And in the case if it is something like some kind of, you know, spiritual attack or energy attack or something, I really think there is something to, for many of us here, there is something to rebuking it and not consenting to it boldly. You know, it goes deep. I don't even know why that is. You know, I've been contemplating this for a very long time. It's like, it's almost, you know, it gets to the point where it's just all very mysterious. But I think the biggest thing is standing and shining your light and remembering your light and remembering that your light is more powerful than any of that. You know, it really, 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 really is. No matter what you're facing in life, you know, even if you're facing something totally different than I'm explaining. This is my practice, at least. I'm just sharing with you guys, you know, what I'm learning and what I'm learning and doing and stuff. Is to be the light so strong that you no longer get sucked into these other things that, you know, in the past might have scared you. You might have given your power away to it. And that's what coming into this Christ energy is really all about, I think. Is just this deep knowingness that you are connected to God. God is with you always. Spending time with God. Literally hanging out with God, because, you know, there just comes a point, if you're not interested in like material illusions, it's like that's really the most beautiful, meaningful thing you can do. And then that's how you know, can really, really, really enjoy this life. But yeah, so just a reminder, a long-winded reminder, but I did want to share that story for some reason. It just was wanting to be shared. If that happens, you're not a victim to it. You are not a victim to it. First, be aware of it, and then use your power, use your voice to do whatever you need to do. You know, again, if it's something like that, you know, like I said, if I've ever felt like a evil energy, you say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ, has never failed me. And say it, you know, as many times, as assertively as you need to. It's never failed me. Maybe you have your own, that's fine. But use your power, use your voice, use your inner God force to put that stuff in its place, if need be. And okay, so now let's get into the bigger picture. Why am I bringing this up? Because I feel like that's an important part of humanity's collective evolution. Because, you know, with some of this stuff going on, it's such an interesting paradigm we're in and that we're entering. I don't know if you guys feel it, but it definitely feels like the next little phase. You know, it feels like the next phase where the light is getting so much brighter and stronger. But then in this duality, you know, the shadow, it's also getting more tricky, I want to say. It's really interesting. More obvious, but also more tricky in a weird way. And I don't fear it. You know, I'm not talking about it to fear it or give it any more clout, you know. That's sort of like one of the things I don't want to do by talking about it, is giving it any more clout, as the kids say, giving it more attention, you know, than it needs. But, you know, just for the sake of like sharing and helping, I think it's helpful to just know, you know, having that awareness, knowing how to stand in your power, stand in your light, and rebuke that stuff. Because that's what I really want to say, is we really are so powerful. You know, I'm thinking of back in, I don't know when it was less than a year ago, when it was over the summer, when we were having those hurricanes, and there was that hurricane that, you know, we all feel was man-made, and they were hyping it up like it was going to be the most devastating thing hitting the coast of Florida. And that was like one of the first times I have seen so many people actually come together and just pray and meditate. You know, we even had one on this channel where we prayed and meditated for, you know, the people in that area, in the land, in the hurricane. And there was actually like video footage of that hurricane. As soon as it hit the coast, it basically disappeared and just turned into a storm. You cannot tell me that that was not influenced by the collective consciousness and the mass intentions that were set. That was so amazing. Because it really was a demonstration, I feel, of the power that we have. Individually, but especially when we come together. It makes me think of that quote, when two or more gather, there I am. It's like there's, when we come together, it's like so much more amplified. And now, in the times we're going into, I feel like that's a huge thing that we should really start to put our awareness on, is this energy of like of service, not just service to yourself, but like service to others, service to God, service. Because if you're watching this up to this point, we're almost 30 minutes in, that's why you're really here. There's nothing wrong with indulging in the, pleasures of life. But that's not really why we're here, And you can fulfill those desires as long as you need to. Eventually you're going to find that it's just empty, the real joy, I think, is coming into the service to others, and remembering our this higher state of consciousness is a unified consciousness. So it's like there's a natural sort of selfless service that starts to happen. I feel like as you keep evolving, it happens naturally. So I guess that's what's on my heart that I want to share, is just hopefully this is all coming together and making sense. Of just like starting to just, I'm just at least planting this seed wherever you are. The power of prayer, the power of meditation, the power of creation, being a vessel for God, letting go of the, just like the really like meaningless sort of like facade in programmed desires. Again, it's not that I'm not trying to make them bad. It's just like a lot of that's just programming, conditioning stuff. When you really start to like go into your soul, you have this whole new set of values, kind of, and it's really just, about kind of like what I'm sharing here. It's like remembering your power, remembering who you are, remembering why you're here, and on a spiritual level, the power of your consciousness and your awareness and what you're thinking, what you're believing. What you believe is a huge responsibility. It really is. And how you're choosing to navigate whatever is arising in your field, and really seeing everything that arises in your field as an opportunity to experience miracles. And what is a miracle? That alone is worth meditating on. There's all types of different miracles, from the tiniest little ones to the biggest ones, and some of them you're not even going to see physically. They're invisible. But miracles happen all the time, and I think this is about creating a habit of miracles. Creating a habit of miracles for yourself and for others. That's I'm trying to sort of like conclude this idea. It's like, maybe it's not a bad idea to consider, if you haven't already, taking more time to hang out with God and send love and pray, whatever that means to you. Plant seeds, envision, these higher possibilities, and put your energy into that, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones, for humanity. And plant these seeds, because in the same way you create and manifest in your individual life, you do for the collective. And I've experienced this before, and I'm just one person. Imagine it, and this is already happening. We can already see it. That's part of why everything is shifting, is because more and more people are beginning to put their mind on a higher timeline for humanity. So it's like that itself is an evolution, because you have to overcome the conditioning. You have to overcome the conditioning that's happened in the human mind. And like I said earlier, if things like that arise where you feel like there's something like trying to infringe upon you, being able to just know. It doesn't have to be necessarily a big drama, it's just know who you are. You're like a lion. Stand in your light, stand in your power. You are the light. You are the light of awareness. It's you. It's in all living beings, even the ones that are deeply asleep and forgot. And your power of how you perceive is so radical. A lot of things, it's like you change your perspective, you change your life. And that extends even further. It's like just changing your perspective on humanity, changing your perspective on the world. Also, you know, offers the opportunity for it to change. It's crazy. So I think that kind of concludes the first thing I really wanted to talk about. I hope that's helpful. I guess it's just, again, really about just like there's no idle thoughts. I've said this before. It's so freaking true, you know. And at this point in our evolution where we're at now, it seems maybe, you know, it can almost be like a pain in the ass, but it's actually a blessing that God gave us. But the mind is potent. Don't doubt the potence of the mind. That's an illusion. The mind is so potent. All thoughts create form on some level. That is so true. So it's like, guard your thoughts. And it's a practice, you know, it's a practice. It's literally a practice. You just show up and do your best every day. And just have more and more love and compassion for everything, because the love is like the water that just like cleanses everything. Literally, love is the water that cleanses everything. You know, you can just let it flow. Don't block it off. You know, let it flow however it can. It's going to heal you. It's going to heal others. It's what we really need. So that's what I'm really trying to say. You know, let yourself feel this love and extend it outward to others however you can. I feel like that's our biggest thing that we can do here, genuinely. You know, we're here to be helpful. I feel like life is a lot more easy and simple when you remember you're here to be helpful. You know, and sometimes the ego part of us struggles with that, and that's okay. Because the ego gets offended, the ego gets triggered. You know, the ego experiences like lots of contrast and resentment and all these sorts of things, and that's okay. That's part of our job as well, is to see that. You know, that's our biggest job, is to see that within ourselves. That's really the work, is to see it within ourselves. And whatever we need to do to let the love shine on it and flow through it. Because that's God working in you, as you, through you. That's miracle mindedness. That's living as a miracle worker. And that's what we are all doing. Again, you know, Jesus' energy is strong. You shall perform greater miracles than I. That's the times we're living in. So, yeah, that's so beautiful. I feel like I could go on and on and on about that, but I hope it's clear, because I just want it to be crystal clear. You know, what I'm trying to get across here, that I've just been feeling so much. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it. You know, I actually feel so grateful that, you know, I feel like this year, past year, 2024, it really stripped me of so many egotistical illusions. Like I could have never imagined, you know, and some of it was so hard and so brutal, but I'm so glad that it happened, because it needed to happen, you know. It's like it brought me back more home to who I truly am. To stop, you know, there's so many things I didn't really realize I was clinging to, you know, for security, outside of myself. Thinking I need this for security, or I need this for worthiness, or I need this. I feel like in 2024, and I say this humbly, so much of that just shattered. And I just am left in this, like, more than I've ever been, present moment, just so present. And I don't need anything. I'm not deprived of anything. I know I'm not deprived of anything. I don't give a shit about needing or wanting anything, you know. And it doesn't mean I don't have desires, because I do, you know. I'm still creating things and building things, and like it still happens, but it's not nearly as like desperate as it used to be. And I don't think that there's anything that could have gotten me to this point other than like those like actual ego shattering experiences. You know, I'm sure you guys can relate. It's so liberating. So I'll just flow a little bit on a few more things. I will keep this sort of short because I honor your guys' time, and I know that, it's kind of a lot to sit down and watch or listen to like over an hour worth of video these days, especially when it's like, I'm sure we're all getting enough intuition as it is, so I won't take up too much time. And I'm open to feedback as well. I'm curious for you guys. I would love to know, like, if you like these long videos or if you prefer me to kind of like break them up by topic and have shorter videos. I'm down for whatever with it when it comes to that. I just love sharing this stuff. But yeah, coming back to this more service to others and recognizing your power and the power of your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you believing about yourself and others in the world? Take fucking, excuse my language, but it just came out. Take freaking responsibility. It's like, y'all, I know people who are listening here are listening. You have ears to hear. Take responsibility for what you're thinking at all costs about yourself, about others. I'm talking to all of us, including myself, because I see it all the time. And that's really like, I feel like that's the next level for real. Is instead of projecting a world of darkness and resentment and idiocracy, projecting a world of harmony, of intelligence, of love, of balance, because you will start to see that and you will start to be that and you will resonate that. And the more of us that keep doing that, that's the antidote. That's the real mission. That's the real mission. Don't get distracted by there's so many distractions, but that's the real mission. So it's like, that's priority number one. I feel for many of us, that's what all we're here for. We're not here for this material stuff. It's beautiful, but that's not what's going to fill your soul. It's not. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, that's how the soul feels when it comes to that stuff. For me personally at this point, it's just like, it's cool, it's fun, it's not bad. It's just like, I feel like we're coming into a much deeper experience of this life. And like I said, we're all coming into a more soul-led life. So it's like the soul has completely different desires and values than the ego has, and we're all feeling this, we're going to continue to, because it's an ongoing process from that, more dense focal point of consciousness to this, higher expression in perception and experience of consciousness, which is again more about service, more about, sharing from a place of true, like, unconditional love and wanting to just, like, share and help and nurture yourself and others. That's what it's about. That's what's gonna feed you, that's what's gonna fulfill you. It's not about this material stuff. At that point, it's like the material stuff is just like, it's like that's like the, I guess job of the ego is just to manage that stuff and make sure that stuff's all like, squared away. But the real heart-filling stuff is starting to come into this deep union with God within you, and to expand that into the world, and to recognize your brothers and sisters for who they are truly, not for the facades that they're in. We're here to help and free them, not mock and ridicule them. And I know it's hard sometimes. But it's important. It's important. Remember the mission, remember why you're here. So yeah, I love it. I love being present. I feel so good. I feel so aligned, and I know things are constantly changing, so I'm really not like clinging onto it, but I'm so grateful. I've just been my phone's about to die. Hopefully it doesn't cut off. If it does, I apologize, but it'd be like that. This channel is just, it just is what it is. But yeah, I love being present. I feel so I don't know if you guys relate. I'm very curious to know if you do. It's like, I feel like 2024 was just such a like heartbreaking open year, And that's actually pretty sure that's going to be the name of my next album I'm working on right now. Is Heartbreaking Open. It's just like really emotional songs that explain exactly what I'm trying to say in the form of music. So stay tuned for that. And also, side note, and I feel so weird doing this, but I'm going to. And if you look at my music or what I'm doing, I'll put my PayPal below, and you can, if you feel inclined, you can donate, because I am working on my album and it is expensive and it is beyond my means, but I'm not worried about it because I know that somehow I'm going to manifest it as it's meant to be, so I'm not even worried about it. But if you want to contribute to that, I'd be so thankful. You would be contributing to some amazing art, and I would be happy to share it with you. Some early things, but anyways, that's a side note. But so much love and gratitude. That would really mean the world to me because it's a big thing, and I really want to do it right this time. And so, you know, it involves working with a really amazing producer I found that's gonna, you know, I feel intuitively take it to the next level as far as the engineering goes, because I'm not really an engineer. It's not my thing. Anyways, so I'm just being present. I've been working on my album, enjoying my life, my relationships, a lot of herbiting when I can. I've been like going crazy at the gym, lifting weights and stuff. That's kind of a new thing for me. I've been loving that. And saunaing. Dude, if you can sauna, especially if you are in a cold area, the sauna is a game changer. The sauna is so good. I mean, it's just so amazing. And drinking more water. I'm really bad about drinking water. That's just some personal stuff. I don't know. I just thought I'd share. But yeah, I think that's about it for now. I just love it. I love this being present and hanging out with God as much as I can. You know, it's just a practice. It's just a practice. But I just feel so much more free than ever. That's what I was saying. Totally got distracted. But I feel like 2024, it's just so much, heartbreaking open. Just so many things got like stripped away. In like sometimes the most brutal way, but ultimately in the best way, to where I feel like I'm going into 2025 just so light, like surprisingly light. Like it's truly a miracle. I'm just like so thankful, truly so thankful to my bones, you know. So grateful, because it's amazing. You know, and if anyone is still going through it, so much love to you. It's funny, like there's so many times where like I've thought that I was totally ruined, like for real, and those thoughts are crazy. You're never ruined. It's always an illusion. You're always going to come back, you know. Just let yourself come back. Let God, you know, come through, because you're never going to be irredeemable, you know, truly in the eyes of God. It's the devil, the false, artificial, whatever that is, you know, that's going to make you think that you're irredeemable, but that's not true. It's just an illusion of separation that can be so real. And then when you believe it, because again, I'm telling you, you have to be so careful what you're believing, because then if you believe it, it becomes real. It's crazy, isn't it? It's so crazy. Be so careful what you believe. It's all about deprogramming all of this conditioning stuff. That's another tip I have that's so great, is like, as much as you can, like when you wake up in the morning, just try to start your day right the best you can. Whatever that means to you. Start your day right. You know, planting the seeds of what you want to feel. I went through a big like Joe Dispenza phase again. You know, his meditations are really helpful for just like creating from the inside out. So it's like learning and practicing. It's a skill. You have to train yourself. You have to train your body and mind, similar to how you train your, you know, body at the gym. You literally have to train yourself on a real level. That's why meditation is actually so important. You need to train yourself to be practice like holding and having these higher states of health, feeling love, feeling joy, feeling success, abundance, or whatever it is. That's been a big way. That's been a big way of pulling myself up. You know, that's one of the biggest things. I've talked about it before. I'll probably make a whole video on it again because it's so life-changing. And it's a practice. It really is. It's like, because you don't want to just be a victim to the external world. You don't want to just be like what am I thinking? Like a cork floating in the ocean. Like you're just getting swept into the collective unconscious in every which way. That's when you start getting into these weird states that can, I like to call them anomalies. It's like, do you ever, like, it's like when you get into like these states of consciousness or experience where there's like no way out. It's like, what the fuck is this like fucked up loop I'm in? You know, sometimes you're in it, or sometimes you see other people doing it and it kind of pulls you in. Or it's like fleas. It's like contagious in a weird way. It's very contagious if you're not aware and like sovereign.